Your buyer is not an idiot, and your buyer is not an asshole. This is sales for nice people. Your buyers aren't idiots or assholes, or at least I sure hope they're not. If they are, you might need different buyers. I can help. But be honest now. When you send a proposal and your buyer says, yeah, I'll get back to you, I'll read it, and in 2 days I'll get back to you and give you my feedback. And then they don't you feel resentful, annoyed, frustrated that they said they were going to do something and then they didn't? Something that you need. It might not be that you call them an asshole, but there is this feeling of resentment. Or when you send follow-up and you don't get a reply, even though there was a great conversation going on. Do you feel that sting of like annoyance and resentment? Or maybe it's a situation where your buyer has a real costly, painful problem that they need to solve and urgently, and they even have the budget for it, and then they turn it down for whatever reason. Does that make you go, God, what's wrong with people? Now, when things like that happen, when you have a reaction that is negative to what your buyer does or does not do, you're making two fundamental mistakes. The first is you're making it about yourself. When you want replies, when you want your proposal read and commented on, when you want the signature, that's all about you. And when you feel resentful, that's about you too. But the sale is always about the other person. There is something going on in this person's world that causes them to not do what they said they would do or what you would expect them to do. It's about them. And the second mistake that you're making at that moment is a mistake of misattribution. You have no idea why somebody does or does not do the things they do or don't do. Every person is an entire world. They have their reasons, their motivations, their stakeholders, their fires to put out, and people get caught up in things. And it's not that they don't want to reply or that they don't care about you. Something prevented them from doing what you would expect them to do or what they promised. So you cannot attribute their behavior or lack of behavior to being an idiot, being a fool, being an asshole, being a jerk. Somebody doesn't show up. Well, maybe something happened in that person's world. Is it because they're a jerk? Probably not. There's probably something else going on. So you cannot afford in a sales process to blame people for the things they do or don't do. When you get upset or resentful, well, all you're doing is creating a false flag, excuse, reason for why they behave that way. That's then going to become a focal point in your mind about who this person is and how they behave. So you're distancing yourself from that buyer. And another really big reason why this is a mistake, to misattribute and get upset, is that everybody really is an entire world and they have so many things going on. And instead of getting upset, you should deploy empathy. It's much more powerful and useful to ask yourself, I wonder why they didn't pick up the proposal and sign on the dotted line. What could have been happening in that person's world? What could be the reason that they didn't do what they said they were going to do? Now you're actually trying to help your buyer. You're trying to put yourself in their shoes. You're trying to be understanding. And it doesn't mean that you should forgive or reward bad behavior. If somebody repeatedly doesn't show up, that's bad behavior. Have a conversation about that, because you're not going to stand there, stood up, with a no-show. But you do have to ask yourself, what is causing these people to behave like that or to not behave like that, so that you can give an appropriate, calibrated response to their behavior. When your reaction is, well, they're idiots, they're fools, they're jerks, then the response that you're going to give, the attitude that you're going to show up with, is not going to help your sale. Your buyer is not a jerk, is not an asshole, is not an idiot. Your buyer is a whole world. Try to figure out what that world is like for that person, because that way you might be able to find something that you can help with. This is Sales for Nice People. Go to salesfornicepeople.com/sign up, and I will see you again tomorrow.